What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It is a beautiful summer evening here in Findlay, Ohio, and Anderson and I are hanging out in the beer shed, getting ready to check out a new beer. Now, as this is Wednesday, we are going to do a WTF Wednesday review. For those of you who may be new to the channel, WTF Wednesday is the one day a week when I do a beer we probably normally wouldn't. Sometimes this means we do stuff from the big boys, Bud, Miller, and Coors. Sometimes we try interesting offerings from microbreweries. More recently, we've been doing a little bit of international flair, and this one certainly checks this box, but there's something else very unique and very WTF about this brew.
And sometimes we do a moldy oldie.
Sometimes we'd be doing a moldy oldie. So, this beer here, if you watch my unpacking video of a box that was sent to me by my friend Wayne, who's from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. He has a channel called Bucks County Beer Reviews. Check him out. I'll throw his channel link down in the description. And he got the little box bit up here. Wayne had gone to a flea market in Pennsylvania and picked up a bunch of beer cans because he collects old cans. And while he was there, he found a couple of full beers.
That's crazy.
I know he did on his channel. He had a can of Budweiser from 1986, and he opened it just to see what it's like. I think when I chatted with him, he said the smell was repugnant, and if we drink it, we die, something like that, right? So, because I'm a sucker for punishment, I decided I would like to trade with him and try to acquire one of these old beers. So I think there was one of these, and I think he had a Marston's one as well. But I've had a Marston's beer more recently in England, but I'd never heard of this one. So this is called Flowers Original. And this is from the Whitbread Beer Company. I guess that's what they're called now. Back then it was called Flowers Brewery, and they're from Cheltenham in Gloucester, Chestershire, Shropshire. So, is that not how you pronounce it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think it's Gloucestershire, right? But it's from there. And what's interesting is it says it's from Cheltenham. That's actually where I was actually born. Cheltenham in suburbs of Pennsylvania. I feel like Hank Hill when I found that out. My whole life I thought I was actually born in Philly. And I was actually born in the burbs, which was soul-crushing. So, this is a bitter or session. It's a bitter-session/ordinary. Now, ordinary is probably a phrase we're unfamiliar with in the U.S. But in England, I used to drink a beer called Young's Ordinary, which was, I guess it's just their bitter. Their kind of go-to bitter is also called ordinary. And there's obviously all kinds of other designations, but that's it. And this is probably the second time I've seen the term ordinary used in a beer, other than, when I was in the UK. So kind of neat there. This is 4.4% ABV. And on the bottom, I'll show you a little circle there. It says Best by January 1996.
Man, do you have your paperwork in order in case we die from drinking this beer?
No, I do not. But I do have a will. No, I went to law school and I don't even have a will. And I'm fat. Is that a terrible decision?
And you're drinking 28-year-old beers.
Yeah, 28 years old. Do you remember where you were in 1996? What
Yes.
were you doing? Where were you at?
That was my senior year of high school or my freshman year of college, depending on the time of year.
Fair enough. I think for 1996, that would have been my sophomore year of college. And I was drinking beers in the Briarcliff Apartments in Kutztown and also down off Main Street where some of my friends live. So I'd have been pounding Yingling Premiums probably by the keg in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. I actually think, depending on what time of 1996, I did actually travel to the UK, if I'm not mistaken. It was either 96 or 97. I went there for spring break one year. So it might have been around there. So this thing here says Flowers Draught/draft. This is a word I've always struggled with. I know in England they would say draft, but it's D-R-A-U-G-H-T. For some reason my brain says draught and tries to say it weirdly, but it's just Flowers Draft Original. Now we have a little bit of a blurb on the back. The ingenious draft flow system brings you the hoppy, fruity flavor and aroma of Flowers Original from a can. In the can is an insert which releases a fine stream of bubbles to give the distinctive taste of Flowers Original Bitter. For maximum enjoyment, chill for at least 2 hours, and we've done that in spades. Pour into a glass in one smooth action. Wait and watch as a mouth-watering glass of Flowers Original forms before your eyes. Alternately, leave for a few seconds, then enjoy straight from the can. This can contains a pressurized insert, do not tamper. Now, the one thing, when we got this, obviously, as it's old enough to drink itself, it could have a driver's license and a car. It's probably graduated from college and owes $100,000 in student loan debt. I was a little concerned about drinking it, so I started doing a little research of what happens if you drink old beers. And basically what I found was, for the most part, nothing. There's nothing in it that can kill me. It might give you an upset stomach or something like that. And basically from what I read, and again, I'm not a medical doctor, it basically said as long as the can isn't punctured or compromised in some kind of way, it should be okay. Now, when you feel it,
But you are a doctor.
a Juris doctor, all right? So I went to law school. That means if this kills us, I could sue my own estate. But not that I take good advice.
So could you sue this brewery if it makes us sick?
Man, this is on like the third different owner, I think. Because like I said, it said Whitbread originally, and now, or no, it's Whitbread now. But back then on the can it says brewed by Flowers Brewery. So I guess maybe they've been sold, or you know how.
But if this makes us sick, can we sue the brewery, or are we just stupid?
No. Listen, the court's going to look at us and say, "Good Lord, you imbeciles! What the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing?"
There's nothing on the can that says "Do not drink after."
Well, no, it says Best Buy, but
That doesn't say "Do not drink after."
I agree. So let's see what you have, British courts. Now, let me ask you this: this has a little widget thing in it. Now, it might not be called a widget because I think it might be copyrighted by somebody. What was the first beer you remember with the widget?
Guinness.
Guinness. I think Guinness was one, but the other would probably be Boddingtons.
Yes, Boddingtons. Yes.
Boddingtons, and did Smithwick's, I think, also had a widget in it, but that's probably it that I can remember.
Yeah.
The Smithwick's might have. So, you ready to
So
open
with
this
this
bad
being
boy?
with this being a smaller brewery, I'm wondering if how much yeast is in this beer. Like, is this going to blow up all over our face when you pop it open?
I don't know, bro. We're going to see.
I'm guessing no, because it's probably not been stored correctly for the last 30 years.
No, it's probably been in somebody's garage or some shit.
And
man.
unlike the beers in my truck that popped in 12 hours, this has not popped. But still, it'd be interesting to see if it blows up or not.
The can feels sturdy, which gives me a bit of hope. And here's what I'm going to look for. If I hear that, like, you see the hiss and it pours in cascades, should I pour all in the one glass in and then pour it just for the cascade effect, or what should I do? Let's do double, so it'll take an hour to do it.
Just double them up real quick.
All right, let's turn the iPad this way in case it does explode 30-year-old beer and will destroy all my stuff. You ready?
I'm ready.
Wayne, thank you, my brother. I had done a video previously of a 6-year-old beer that I actually went to a local convenience mart and bought it. When I come in and check the date, it was 6 years old, which means I don't go back there too much. But I've been looking for a really old beer, and I'm thrilled to be able to try this. The can art is kind of neat. It's like look like Shakespeare or something on
Yes.
there. It says strong ale, but it's only like 4.4%. So hey, we'll see.
I apologize to your wife. I am no longer responsible for what happens once we ingest this
I'm
beer.
aiming this towards Anderson. I'm just hoping that it actually pours, and then I'll be happy. Ready?
Let's go.
Holy shit!
Wow.
That wasn't too bad,
I did not expect it to hiss like that and pop like that.
bro. That's doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh, that stinks.
Oh shit!
That is stale beer, stale bar.
I think this is what my house smelled like in college. You got a knife on you?
That's like,
Feel the can. That's a heavy ass can.
you don't want to cut the can up.
Yeah, it's gonna cut the bottom.
You don't want to cut the can up.
Now look, I will say this.
This is a collector can. You don't want
Yo.
to cut the can up.
It
It's doing its thing. That is a heavy can.
yeah, it's probably a steel can.
That is a really heavy can. And whatever's in the bottom is not like rattling around.
No, like the Guinness ones do.
But that popped with some force. That was a very forceful pop. So that was absolutely
Pressurized.
and sealed and
Yeah.
perfect.
I mean, it's doing the cascade, man.
But did that initial, when that popped,
What's the scent like?
old lady farts and piss.
I was gonna say sewer rats, but yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to, man.
I mean, when that originally popped, when you walk into a dark, dingy bar back in the smoking days, that's what that beer smelled like. That just stale beer-soaked carpeting.
That's what my carpet smelled like at the Briarcliff Apartments in college.
I mean, that was absolutely the stale beer-soaked carpet smell.
I can't say I see it doing a hell of a lot. I see some floaters on the bottom.
Oh, that thing's full of floaters.
Oh,
What are you
shit.
talking about?
Yeah, that's...
Well, there's a lot of suspended... Is it carbonated or nitrogenated?
I would suspect nitrogenated if it has a little widget thing, right?
Not necessarily.
Actually,
But the way it
if
cascaded.
you remember, they're not all widgets. I think the widget thing was a Guinness. Some of them have like a little
thing in the bottom,
a bubble on the
yeah.
bottom that releases it. And I would suspect this because if you feel the can, it feels bottom heavy.
Yeah, it's real heavy.
I initially thought it was sediment, but that's probably the thing in the bottom. I might cut it out from the bottom.
But no, you got to save the can. You can't destroy the can. But nitrogen is more inert than
this
carbon
dude is
dioxide.
going science with me with some inert things. See if I can see the bottom of it.
Now what are you doing?
I'm trying to see if I can see the bottom, man.
That head is a nice, thick, creamy head. Nice tan, thick, creamy head.
So let's look. It looks fucking magnificent.
It does.
Let's go to the Brew HQ chart first off. It's got a nice amber color. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking there's a whole lot of sediment floating around
That's
there.
fine. Color.
That is...
I say 15, 16. It's like a nice caramel color.
Yeah.
Head. Magnificent. I mean, it's still a thumb's width. Looks creamy. You know, if you poured a nice fresh Guinness, that nice, smooth nitro kind of head, it's exactly what it is. Smell?
Smells like cholera.
Impending death?
No, it actually... It smells like Guinness. Kind of like Guinness. That creamy, foamy head, kind of nitrogenated beer.
Yeah. After the initial death smell, it's not that bad.
But I'm sure that smell from the can popping open is that headspace that's in the very
That
top
tiny
of the
bit
can.
that's been there for 30 years. I mean, it looks good. Now, there are floaters, some of which are quite dark. Am I going to drink this whole thing? Hell no.
What if it tastes magnificent? Magnificent.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see after we take a sip.
There is some other scent in there.
It's not super bitter at all, though. I mean, it's not like a huge bitter smell.
It's the nitrogenated beer smell with
It's almost like a little bit of a...
old age.
It could be. Screw it. You ready to give us a sip?
I mean, this beer has had kids.
It's been drafted, did its service time, and is now looking for a second career.
Yes.
Look, when you did that, though, I mean, look at it.
That is a thick, milkshakey head.
Let's do this. It was nice knowing y'all. Thank you for watching the channel. If this goes south, my wife will do some kind of like rest in peace and a GoFundMe. So let's see what happens. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Not bad at all.
You notice I watched you taste it.
Body-wise, medium on the full side. Smooth, creamy. Taste lightly bitter.
Medium on the full side.
What do you think? Think it's full?
No, I think it's medium to light. It's kind of watery.
No, I don't think so. I think definitely medium, but I would go probably a little bit higher. Maybe it's just the creamy head throw.
I think it's the head throwing you off.
It could be.
I think
Let's go with medium.
Okay, I'll agree with you with medium.
Fair enough.
Because I think it's pretty watery.
What do you think of the taste? Creamy. Creamy as hell.
It's a creamy taste.
Like you'd expect from one of those kind of nitrogenated beers.
There is something there that's off, but it's very subtle.
It tastes like a very mild ESB, in my opinion. I don't think that it's overly bitter. It's like a slight bitterness, a decent kind of maltiness to it, and that's kind of it.
There's not a lot there.
Yeah, but it's super quaffable. I could drink a bunch of these.
Quaffable.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sometimes I break out the thesaurus.
So you could drink a bunch of 1996, 1995 beers.
No, I'm saying if this is still around, which it is, because I went to Untappd, people have checked into it recently, and I saw people take a picture of like the tap handle and shit, so it's still out there. So if I could find this, I would drink it for sure. I don't think it's a bad beer at all.
I would like to try a fresh one.
Agree with that.
I would absolutely try a fresh
How
one.
do you think it is for a 28-year-old beer?
I think it held up surprisingly well.
The one thing I was...
I'm shocked at how
No,
not offensive this is.
I wonder because this is clearly like a steel can when you feel it's a very thick wall, like a heavy can.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what saved the day. Like if this had been an aluminum can, it may have gone bad or whatever. I don't know.
And again, back to the nitrogenation. Nitrogen is a very inert gas. So it doesn't react with anything,
Okay.
which probably also saves the beer. Because carbon dioxide has oxygen in it, and oxygen is what kills beers.
Okay. So if it's nitrogen, then maybe that's not there. Now again,
No, there's no oxygen in nitrogen. That's why it's nitrogen.
There is a big old...
Wow, that's a
looks
settled
like
settlement.
It looks like a black mass of something.
Yeah, that sediment has definitely settled. Oh, yeah. There is a lot of dirt on the bottom of the glass.
Let's just hope it's not rusty inside of a can. All right, $1 million question. Flowers Original. When this was brewed, Flowers Brewery, Cheltenham, Gloucestershire. My bad. Gloucestershire, sister. What do you think?
Again, I'd like to have a fresh one of these.
100%.
The way this tastes now, I don't know that I'd have another 28-year-old version of this, but the way this tastes now, I would like to have a fresh one. I would give it a thumbs up. Surprisingly, I'd give it a thumbs up.
Here's my thoughts on this. If you didn't tell me this was 28 years old, and I didn't see that black hole in the bottom of the glass of God knows what is in it, I might say, yeah, I like it. I dig it. I would have another one. Not the best beer I've ever had. Middle of the road, pretty decent. I would drink another one. Because I'm unsure of the health, ramifications of consuming the rest of this. I would say I'm not sure, but for me, it would be a thumbs up. I don't think it's that bad. I'm shocked that it's even palatable.
So am I.
Especially after that initial smell, I was like, oh, we're done.
I expect this to be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's not. It really isn't.
It's held up surprisingly well, which blows my mind. So I guess, oddly, 2 thumbs up for a beer that's old enough to have kids.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, give us 2 thumbs up. We're both over 28 and old enough to have kids. If you've had Flowers Original, I think Slurpy Dave had mentioned that he knew of the beer and knew the Whitbread Brewery and this kind of stuff. I assume he's probably had it at one point. Maybe if he watches this, if you could tell me what it's like, if you've had it before, or anyone else out there that may have had it in the past or even currently. Like I said, I know it's still around, but there was only 108 check-ins and it had a 3.18 on Untappd. So for a beer that's been around since at least the 90s to now, 108 check-ins is a very, very low number of check-ins.
Yeah, it is. Very
So I'm
low.
guessing distribution isn't great. So if you've ever had it, let us know in the comments below. Hey, till next time.
Cheers.